You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, let's go now to that High Court decision, a decision with substantial implications, not just because of what the court ruled, but also because of its laying bare of a much, much larger problem that I think from everything I've heard and read will need more than one court decision to actually resolve. The issue at hand was brought to the High Court. The plaintiffs were looking for a court order against the company Meta, Facebook, Instagram, you know them well, WhatsApp in the mix too. They were looking to have certain anonymous Instagram accounts and WhatsApp channels shut down for distributing child pornography and humiliating many young people in the process. The attorney very much at the heart and center of dealing with this, Rupert Candy, was acting for the digital law company, and he joins us now on 702 Drive. Mr. Candy, welcome, and thanks very much for giving us your time. What is, before we talk about the limitations of this and all the other work that needs doing, what is, in your view, the significance of what the High Court ruled and decided on?
Thank you, John, for having me. I think the significance is that, it's been very difficult to try and get any form of accountability from Meta. Since 2014 or there and thereabouts, they've had a little office in Bryanston, in which it started out as just a simple marketing office. But since then, it has been capacitated further to the extent where they even have a public policy director. So in that, in that sense, I think it's a really significant development to get an order against an entity like Meta, because as you may know, what they enjoy doing is they enjoy reaping the benefits and the rewards from doing business in South Africa, the African continent, South America, Asia, everywhere around the world. But when it comes to assuming the risk, of liability or
Yes.
legal scrutiny, they always say, well, you can't sue us, you must sue us in California. So they've had this office since 2014. It has been capacitated further. So I think, that's a significant development. Unfortunately, Meta has not fully complied with the court order. It was a three-pronged court order, an order for them to remove, an order for them to disable, and an order for them to disclose the identity of the perpetrator. They've partially complied in that some of these accounts have been shut down, but they haven't complied with the order to disable, the creator of those channels and the profiles, and they haven't given us the identity of the perpetrator, who, by the way, is continuing to behave in this fashion. He or she has already threatened to do a massive drop,
Yes.
in their words, at 11 p.m. tonight. So as I speak to you right now, we're busy with counsel at Chambers, and we're going to go back to court for a contempt of court application.
I'm very mindful of the nature of the content, Mr. Candy, so I'm not asking you to go into any kind of graphic detail, but it's material of a sexual nature. Our law, as I understand it, any depiction of people under 18 in sexual acts is by definition child pornography, so we're in no doubt about that particular aspect of things. Do you have a sense of whether the mix in all of this was content that was acquired without the knowledge of the people depicted? Or is there something else going on where, for example, vulnerable young people are seeing themselves as perhaps this is some way of making money to address adverse circumstances?
Well, what this perpetrator does is that he or she says, well, let's fix South Africa, in their words.
Yes.
So what they do is they encourage mainly young school children to share explicit content that may have been shared privately with them by a girl or a boy, and then perhaps the relationship ends sourly, and then says, well, just send us the nude photos, the graphic images, and then it gets circulated on this account. It's quite a it's quite a sad situation that we're in, because it's developed to such an extent where our clients, the digital law company, stated that a couple of school pupils were on suicide watch, and a couple of them have sadly passed away. They've taken their own lives. Yes. And one of them is currently in hospital as we speak. So, it's just a terrible situation that we find ourselves in,
Yes.
and we can't do anything further but just to go back to court to try and and enforce compliance by Meta in order to shut down these accounts.
So you mentioned the digital law company founder and I think director or CEO, whatever her title is, Emma Sadler, was saying a little bit earlier, this is a bit like whack-a-mole. Some people will remember the game where you, with a hammer, these moles would pop up. And on a much more serious note, reflecting what you've just said, that the person who is doing this has said, well, tough, I'm just going to do it again. What would stop that in their tracks? You spoke about the court order around disclosing this person's identity so you could target them, but presumably this is a reflection of a much bigger problem, that this stuff could be coming from anywhere in the world.
No doubt about that, John. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, you can shut down as many of these accounts as possible, and then, another one pops up. But as I say again, I mean, all we can do is to ensure that Meta is compliant, complies with the court order. I mean, as I say, they haven't even, disabled the account. They've taken down a few, but it's just popping up, everywhere as I speak to you right now. I think one of the things that they can do is to disclose the information around this particular individual, who I think may very well be based in South Africa, may not, because they specifically refer to certain schools and areas in Joburg and surrounding areas. Cape Town has now come on board, and even KZN. So it does look like it's a South African individual. But I do stand to be corrected in that regard. But it's very important, I think, that Meta discloses this, the information in compliance with the court order. Otherwise, we're just going to be, playing guacamole again, as you say.
So in terms of Meta's non-compliance, Mr. Candy, I mean, I don't know if you are at the point yet where you're engaging with them through their counsel, but what reason are they offering for not complying? I thought a court order would always have a substantial degree of force.
Well, what they've done is that they have appointed, they've asked their local counsel in California to instruct attorneys, and they have instructed a local firm of attorneys. I won't mention the name of the firm, but it is one of the big 5 corporate law firms in Sandton. And we've had we did have a meeting with them this morning, in which they've tried to, see in what way they can help. They are taking instructions, and in a way I do sympathize with them, because they did say that they can only take instructions or obtain instructions from Meta, because of the time difference between 5 p.m. 10:30 p.m. So we said to them, look, if you don't get back to us by about 5, 6 p.m. this evening, we're going to go back to court. But I see that Meta has also appointed a PR agency to assist, and it looks like they've formally instructed a PR agency, but they're not willing to formally instruct attorneys to come on record, which is somewhat unfortunate, that they're more concerned about the PR aspects than the legal implications of their conduct.
Thank you very much, Rupert Candy, attorney acting for the digital law company from the law firm Rupert Candy and Associates. It's an incredibly important court case and has so many ramifications. On the one hand, we focused in very much on the legals, on the conduct of Meta, which is a company with enormously deep pockets, as I hardly need remind you, but a company that's also got into this kind of thing, I think, fairly often in various shapes and forms around the world. But then there's all the wider issues of what is being depicted on these Instagram accounts and fed again onwards through various WhatsApp channels, and what it's saying about the young people involved, the young people being victimized, and perhaps the young people playing a part in that victimization. We've got to get our heads around all of that, and maybe you want to get us rolling on that. We'll get in some other guests either later on today's show or perhaps tomorrow, because the material and the way in which it's used, but also the response to the consequences. 2 young people, as I understand it, have committed suicide as a consequence of this, and some of the responses have been callous, to put it mildly. So lots to explore. If you've got a thought, share it with us now on 072 702 1702, 29 minutes past 4.
News. Experts.
Analysis.
Where things stand.
What you need to know. Drive home with John Perlman
On 702.